Well, hello everyone. We're here for the Green Queens, as is our name on the sheet. We're here for the Eagle Sustainability Case Competition, and we're all seniors. We're all roommates in the mods right now, and we've always been really passionate about sustainability. We all have a different stake in some way in the sustainability culture on campus, and we all are studying different things, bringing different perspectives. So we wanted to start a little bit with some introductions of us and who we are. So I'll start. I'm Natalie. I'm studying finance. I'm currently a student sustainability manager at BC Dining, and I'm also the president of Real Food BC.
I'm Maureen. I'm president of EcoPledge here at BC, and I'm studying environmental geoscience. I'm excited to continue at BC next year pursuing a double eagle. I'm going to be a master's student in philosophy.
Hello, I'm Hanan. I'm an international studies major studying political economy and developmental studies. And I currently work at the Plex, and I used to intern at the Office of Sustainability. So our whole main initiative is based around this mock-up that we made. Is a logo that we borrowed from a little pieces around BC marketing, and it's called Green the Heights. Green the Heights is made up of 30 main prongs of concessions, programming, and tailgating. Our main mission in Greening the Heights is making sure that classic game days are more sustainable for both the fans, athletics, and concessions, as well as facilities.
To talk about concessions, we've broken it down primarily into plastic waste and food waste. To talk about plastic waste, these are just some of the outlines that we'll get into in more depth in the next slides. We're going to talk about water bottle fill stations, reducing single-serve packaging units, and also introducing compostable products. And then with food waste, we'll talk about composting, end-of-game deals for concessions, and real-time monitoring with the point-of-sale system. A water bottle fill station, we made a mock-up here. There already are water bottle bubblers in Conti and alumni, but they don't currently have a water bottle fill station, and they also aren't turned on. They've been off since COVID, which is a major problem. We need to be able to give fans access to water on campus. So we propose to, in tandem with the clear bag policy, also introduce a clear water bottle policy. This can be a perk for first-year students, give them a BC bottle, and allow them to bring an empty bottle into the game so they can fill it up with water and stay hydrated, which is super important, especially on game days. It's also a lot less cleanup of facilities. A lot of the recycling bins get filled up with different plastic water bottles and overfill. It becomes very difficult for them to clean up. So this would reduce a lot of general waste. Reducing packaging as well. The condiments, it's the individual packets as opposed to the large pumps. The pumps are considerably cheaper for BC Dining and services. And so replacing them would be considerably lowering the cost. Also providing small paper cups, which are compostable. They're insanely cheap, so it's a negligible almost price. That would allow fans to still carry away condiments if they want to. Of course, we already have an existing supply that we would need to phase out. And according to fans' reaction, perhaps there always will be a few to grab from, but it would considerably lessen the waste. And to talk about compostable products, BC Dining already has a great relationship with World Centric Composting. We do a lot of partnering with them to create the right products that we need. We obviously have a relationship with Coca-Cola products. With our contract that we've signed recently, we can hope to reinstate in the coming seasons when we re-sign that partnership where they can help actually subsidize some of the cost of putting their logo on these cups, because they prefer to have us be drinking knowing that we're drinking Coca-Cola products. So in these mock-ups, you can see Coca-Cola and BC logoing on the cups, which would be compostable, easy access, basically the same interface for fans right now, but with less waste. And it would have a equivalent or slightly higher cost, of course, but with BC Dining already committed to this pledge of transitioning to compostables, it's something that BC as a whole has already marked our progress towards and committed ourselves to. And athletics joining the dining would, of course, even lower the cost, purchasing in bigger bulk, and hopefully help in the future reduce costs overall for the rest of the community as well by increasing demand.
A big part of tackling our food waste component of our presentation is to build off our partnership currently with Save That Stuff. So Save That Stuff actually does offer recycling and compost, which can be seen through our partnership with BC Dining as well as the dorms. So currently the way that composting is set up with in alumni is that there isn't really composting, so we're proposing that we should add a Save That Stuff stop to be able to take a lot of this food waste as well as these new, hopefully, compostable products. We understand that adding a stop is an added cost, but we feel as if adding this cost will not only mitigate the amount of food that is going to landfill. And it would also encourage and show the community that BC is making a lot of efforts to be sustainable. When we were looking at alumni, we were trying to figure out the big factors that there isn't a lot of space to add composting bins or composting trash recycles like dumpsters, but we decided that when we were looking through the space through chain concessions, that there is, if we were to eventually change one of those trash bins into being a compost receptacle, that way all that waste that would go into trash can actually be composted, and as well as the added cost of adding one of these small little trash bins by where fans are going into the stadium. Just because personally I know that when we're going in Rio, we're chowing down a hot dog, we're finishing our pizza, a lot of that waste just goes straight to trash, but I think by adding a compost option, fans and alumni will be able to know that we care about food waste.
In tandem with these compostable products too, if they have their hot dog in the brown paper container and they maybe don't finish it, they can toss the whole product into the compost bin. They don't even have to worry about sorting.
So another part of our food waste prong is the discounted concessions. Currently before the game, there's 50% off discount on all concessions, so that incentivizes fans to get into the stadium earlier, and we were thinking about using that same model by trying to keep fans longer, since most people do leave the game earlier than we would expect them to or want them to, by offering 50% off incentive for the fourth quarter. These products would be products that would be technically counted as overflow products that could be sold at near cost to not only increase our profit margins, but reduce waste. And this is the biggest prong in our food waste combating initiative, and that is to utilize our current point of sale system, which is Spot On. Since we just transferred to this new point of sale system, there are a lot of features and capabilities that we haven't really looked at that I think could be super helpful into mitigating our food waste. So the way that the point of sale system is currently set up, you can see what is being sold at every single concession stand by itself and what inventory they currently have. So we're proposing that by using the point of sale system capability to our advantage, we can then not only create data sets for future purchasing habits so that we can better estimate what types of food that we need for game days when it's rainy, what kind of competitors that we're playing, or in general, just so that we can mitigate how much food is lost when we are doing purchasing, as well as a really neat a neat part of Spot On in general is that because it's real-time monitoring, I can click on stand 5 and see that they have like 50 hot dogs left. But we're really not going to sell 50 hot dogs, so we don't need to be creating more hot dogs. And in that way, we can mitigate how much production is happening in the current moment, as well as understanding how much inventory is left when consumers buy.
So now the question arises of who's actually going to be looking at these point of sale systems and things like that. So here's where we get into the programming prong of our initiative, Green the Heights, which is where we're proposing BC Athletics hire at least 2 sustainability student interns for a paid position. So this would work similarly to the way that BC Dining currently has an internship, in which we actually also have like data analysts who are working with our database and stuff for BC Dining. So we are taking from data analytics majors and computer science majors, where the students are really able to benefit from having an on-campus paid experience. And then of course, they're also greatly helping in reducing the food waste. So the responsibilities of these student interns would be to actually be the ones monitoring this point of sale system, looking at the live time data, and also being able to predict, looking at past data and predicting trends for how much should we order for the Notre Dame game or something like that, based off of past historicals and such. So another part of what these student interns would do, besides actually monitoring the system, would be to just facilitate some tailgate programming, including the Green the Heights volunteers, which I will get into now. So the Green the Heights volunteers would wear this great sticker that we mocked up here. And essentially we're proposing that the volunteer program kind of works similarly to concessions, in which groups with a tax ID and proper forms are able to get a stipend for working a game. And so these volunteers would be working in 2 ways, one of which is at our donation station. So the donation station we propose should be in the lower tent village on Maloney Lawn near the Mods tailgating area. BC Dining currently already has a tent there, so if we were to add another where these volunteers would work, we were hoping that there could be a table where all fans could take their half their tray of bagels if they hadn't finished, or some leftover Jersey Mike's if they had overpacked or something. And they could all go to this table that the volunteers are standing at, and any other passerbys, like students and things, can come by and get some snacks on their way. You know, students are always scrounging for food on game days. And so this could be a great way for that to happen. And then also, right before the game actually starts, these volunteers would be able to look at all the food that's there. Anything that's donatable, that's actually in good condition, we could partner with Every Bite Counts, which is a club on campus where they donate to Rescuing Leftover Cuisine, an organization nearby that they actually distribute the food to people in need. So any food that's good for that can totally be donated, and otherwise it can be composted. We suggest that this is a better option than just having compost bins laid out around the mods, for instance, on game day, because frankly, not everyone really knows how to sort their trash. There's a lot of room for contamination and just general confusion. So kind of streamlining this there would be a great idea. Another option for what these volunteers could do is handing out the trash bags and recycling bags. We know that that's currently already an implemented thing, but to have the Green the Heights volunteers do it, they could also have some informational signage that goes along with it as they're handing it out, a little sheet of paper that says how do they sort their trash, why it's important, and things like that. Just an opportunity for more education. And speaking of education and signage and things like that, here are some other mock-ups of some composting signage that we can have, like relatively low-cost A-frame, things like this that can be posted around near the table. And we could also hand out some fun koozies for Green the Heights and other promotional merchandise that could help just create brand awareness for this new initiative, and also just promoting the Green the Heights initiative in general. And as well, we also have this tailgating tips thing that we can put on a mock-up of the website, which we'll show in a second, but also maybe send out an email for tailgaters once they receive their tickets or something, just talking about some general tips for how they can be more sustainable when they're coming to our tailgate and not bring as much waste with them to begin with.
As Ali mentioned, especially in tandem with tailgating, a major part of active sustainability on game days is coordinating with the fan base entirely. And so creating a landing page on the BC Athletics website for fans and alumni to reference in search of information, how to be sustainable, what to bring, what not to bring. We made a mock-up of a little tailgating tips guide that we could hand out at the beginning of games as well, and offer a general sense of BC values to push our sustainability initiative forward.
And based off what we're just saying, I know that BC participates in the ACC Sustainability Network. Currently, when we do that network, we have this great initiative, Equals for Equality, and we're proposing that not only do we add this to our landing page, but we can show how we're serving as leader of the ACC conference, as well as our commitment to the zero waste game day policy.
So thank you to everyone for listening to us and for our Green the Heights initiative. We hope that with our experience and that we can help the sustainability legacy go on after we graduate, because unfortunately we're seniors. But we really think that this is a pragmatic and really reasonable solution, and we hope to hopefully see some of these initiatives soon.
Awesome. So we have about 5 minutes for questions and answers from the judges.
I think your branding is fantastic with Green the Heights. I think your knowledge was great too, just from what you have. From a tracking standpoint, one thing that I'm looking at is, like, is it realistic to be able to have these hubs where you have one place, like on Maloney, you can have everybody come to, are they gonna really carry their food there? I love that concept, and I also a little concerned with like what food you could actually take and how is it identified to reuse, if it's out there, how long it's been out there,
Yeah.
hot game days, those kind of things. I think the concept's great, I just didn't know how practical that is to be able to execute that with some of the health
Ideally, we
requirements.
could expand upon this and put similar tents in different tailgating areas, but for now, we'd be primarily targeting the mod lot tailgating section. So with the Maloney Lawn right there in the tent village, it'd be really easy access. Fans are already walking by to get into the stadium. And with the Good Samaritans Act, this is less applicable for BC dining or athletics hot dogs at the end of the game, which we might have knowledge of at their exact temperature and whatnot could be considered unsafe. But with the Good Samaritan Act, a bagel left out on the table is generally considered an okay donation. And I'm sure students would probably scavenge the majority of it. But if there is something of the sort of a large Jersey Mike's case that someone left and forgot to crack open, oops, what do we do with it? That could definitely be something that would get to good use and really feed people need
Yeah, and just generally speaking too, I think the majority of it, like you said, would be eaten or I think or composted. The Everybody Counts donation is probably like the least amount of food would actually be there. It's just another option for food that is like, definitely deemed safe in some way.
I also know that the catering that's done in the lower tent villages is facilitated through BC Dining, so any of those extra boxes that you've already pre-bought could be brought to the front since it's right in the tent village, and that way patrons can just go, since you have to head that way to the good anyways.
I have one question. First off, love your colors.
Thank you.
I didn't even wear green.
Or the green queen.
So thank you for wearing green. The second question, my main question is, your waste monitoring system, has that been used anywhere else? And I mean, I caught everything what you said, but I didn't quite catch if it was used locally, it was used here on campus. Could you expound on that?
Of course. So the Spot On system, the way that the point of sale system is set up is that each one of those little iPads is set up to a concession stand so that you can have the known inventory, and then that way you can see not only the sales but what's left over. I've bartended before where we've used Spot On to not only track each individual sale but see how much product is left so that we can have bar backs run and bring us like either more beers or more seltzers. And using that same model, we were proposing that by knowing what inventory is where and using past data analytics of like buying trends, that way people don't have to keep on producing hot dogs until third quarter when they know historically people stop buying them during halftime, I would say.
And the Spot On also comes with handheld portables, which can be used to track the data as well. And there are a lot of functions of this product that especially student interns, especially some that are interested in CS and stuff like that, would be able to really like get down to the nitty gritty with and further expand upon the utility.
Is Spot On a system that's already used on campus?
Yes, it's a
It is,
system that
okay.
is
Yeah.
implemented.
Thank you.
I guess I'll just make a comment. I think you guys understand the market well. And I think that that's really important as we think about what are steps that we can move forward. So I appreciate you guys bringing that forward.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, if that's all the questions we have, thank you so much.